Hi again, everyone. We are live from Beef Advocacy Canada. This is Stina here, and I'm with rancher Jim Lynch Staunton of the Antelope Butte. And so for those of you that watched our live broadcast this morning, we were checking calves that were born overnight, and now we're going to drive around and tag those calves and weigh them. And maybe really quick before we start the quad again, you can tell us why we're doing that.
So what we're doing is weighing and tagging the calves so that we have individual birth weights on all of our cattle. That goes into our birth weight EPD calculation on all of our cows and all of our bull calves. And we've been taking birth weights forever and measuring them accurately so we can have accurate EBVs for our customers on birth weight. And really what we're doing is we want to make sure that we have cows that will calve with the birth weights that they're able to handle, and it's just the first measurement we do on the performance of the calves.
So maybe you can explain what EBV is for those of our viewers that don't know.
The EBV is an estimated breeding value. It's a genetic evaluation of the prediction on how the progeny of those calves, of the bulls and the cows, will be. So for instance, an EBV of plus 10 on birth weight means that an EBV is half of an EPD, which is an expected progeny difference, and those will be the prediction that cow's calves of a plus 10 will be 5 pounds greater than average on birth weight. So if you have small birth weights and want to bring them up, you get that positive EBV, or if you need to bring them down, you'll look for negative EBVs. Excellent.
So what we're going to do things a little bit differently here. This morning we were on horseback, and now we're in a side-by-side. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to help a little bit. So we're going to need to catch and tag and weigh these calves. So we've got the phone mounted on the quad. We're going to be driving a little bit, so you probably won't be able to hear us while we're driving, but keep coming with the questions and enjoy the view. And then when we get back in, we'll take any live questions as we go. So I guess we'll head off.
Okay. Get you to do is just catch the calf,
yeah,
and then I'll come around with the bag and we'll hang it up on the scales. So
okay.
Our first customer is right here.
Yeah.
And I'll try to get you in close.
Okay.
In the trees it might be hard. Just
yeah.
Grab onto the calf and just hold it, and I'll come around with the scale. Okay. Whoops. Okay. I've got it. You can let go.
So we've just put the calf in a little bit of a bag that will fit on the and we're weighing it. So I'm gonna unmount us for one quick sec so you can see what's going on. So we've come around to this side. We've got a little scale that just hangs on the side of the quad. Calf is in a little bit of a sling there, and that'll give us the birth weight. Hi Taylor. Hi. Thanks Alberta Beef Producers for sharing. And it's a little bit of an awkward angle, but the calf is fine. And we're just recording the birth weight. And is there any other information we're taking, Jim?
We're taking the numbers on the DNA tag. The DNA tag takes a sample of DNA from the ear that will go into the U of A genomics program, and we're looking for genetic markers that will help us better select our cattle later on and improve the accuracy of our predictions.
Great. So yeah, we've got the farm tag on there, or the management tag. We put the RFID tag in this morning, and then the other tag that's being put in is that DNA tag that Jim talked about. And there we go.
So here's the DNA sample. Is in that little black cup in there, and we send this off for DNA analysis at Livestock Gen Tech.
Fantastic. And calf's back up and just pairing back up with its mom. And I'll get us mounted back on here and we'll head off and find our next calf that needs tagging. Thanks Beef Cattle Checkoff for sharing the video. Sounds like you guys can hear us so far, which is great. So again, we won't try and talk over the engine, but where we're going, we'll head out. Keep the questions coming. asleep.
Yeah. That's 530A.
Yeah.
Baga.
We have a question from Emily, and she asked, what do you do with the DNA results? I think you kind of mentioned it, but maybe you should tell us again.
The DNA results, we use one of the biggest things we use from the DNA results is sire identification. So that helps improve the accuracies of our sire, and so that's a really important thing that we get done. And the rest of it goes into the estimated breeding values on all the calves for the future. So just to make sure this is both that.
Yeah.
Okay.
those of you that didn't see, we just tagged this little calf right here, and Mom's just checking it out. So sorry, I know we have the mount on a bit of an awkward angle. We'll try and fix it over for the next one. So we've got 6 people watching right now. Thanks, guys.
So what we're doing, we're putting on the management tag on this calf, and it's the same tag as it's the same number as the mother. So when we're in a big group, it's easy to pair a cow up. We just have to look at the calf and look at the cow, and we know that they're paired up. And as you can see, it's got an RFID tag as well as the little DNA tag and the management tag. So those are the numbers that are associated with this calf, and all part of our record keeping. As everyone knows, tags don't stay in for the life of the cow, so the more tags we have, the more chances we have of being able to properly identify it later.
Great. So yeah, we're off to look for our next animal that needs tagging. Sorry guys, we lost our phone there for a sec. I was trying to drive and mount at the same time, which I shouldn't have been doing. Lesson learned. You guys got a bit of an adventure out of it. Enjoyed the view of bouncing across the prairie here. Let's just get good and sit. I'm trying to angle it so you guys will be able to see while we're what we're doing with the next calf. So there we go. I think that'll work. Let's just make sure our gorilla grip is good and tight. Sorry about that.
Tighter than Stina's grip anyway.
Yeah, exactly. There. Perfect. So once again, we've got our calf in the sling, and we're bringing it over to the scale to weigh, and we'll put our tags in. Get us back. Don't want to lose you guys again, so we'll make sure we're good and anchored in. And the cow's just checking around for her calf, which is really important. Good maternal animals are important to have. So So do we have any questions while we're parked here? From our 6 viewers, thanks guys. I could have loaded that for you.
Oh, you pooped.
in your sling?
In the bag, yeah.
Nice. Oh, we have a question from Taylor, and she says, can you tell us about the letter on the tags?
Oh, sure. The letter on the cow, the letter indicates the age of the animal. So, so all of our cows are different ages, of course, and the letter refers to the year that the cow was born. So this cow was a Y, and let's see, they would have been born, we're tagging E's right now, so D, C, B, A, Z, Y. So she's 6 years old.
Great. So if you, just in case you didn't hear, Jim was just saying that the letter refers to the age of the cow. So each year gets a letter, and the year that they're born is the letter that they're assigned. So this year is E, and the cow that we just tagged, her calf, she was a Y, so she was 6 years old. So the calves that they keep back, any heifer calves that stay in the herd permanently, will also be assigned a letter. But right now they've got their mothers, correct?
Yeah, well their letter, the letter on these calves is E. We're tagging E's right now.
There you go. So letter E is 2017. How long is the productive life of a cow on your place?
We let them go as long as they can keep having calves every year, and keep raising them without problems. So our oldest cow that has been okay last year, I believe, was 17 years old.
Wow, that is not a young cow. So yeah, we're off. Or no, that's okay. We're off again. So we'll talk to you guys when we stop for the next calf. Just go ahead and go.
Try and get him.
Yep.
I'll scoop. Okay. Got her. Got him.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us what the weight is on this one, just so we have a bit of an idea.
This one's 79 pounds.
Okay, there you go, 79 pounds. And is that, where does that fit in kind of your usual, is that pretty average, or
this is
bigger, smaller?
This is high for a heifer.
Okay.
So this was a first calf heifer. That was her first calf. So that would be on the high end of our heifer bulls that are specifically bred for low birth weights. The predicted weights on our heifers would be between 60 and 80 pounds. So this is right at the top end of that number. What's the number on that button?
735E.
Okay.
So yeah, just to recap a little bit, this calf was 79 pounds, and his mother was a heifer, which means this was her first calf, and that's a little bit on the high end. Most ranchers typically, and especially these guys, you select for lower birth weights on your heifers. You want your calves to be a little smaller that first time that they have a baby. The animals aren't quite as big, and it's a little easier on them. So 79 pounds is a little big, but he and his mom seem to be doing pretty well, so no worries there. And apologies for the times you can't always see everything on camera. Like I said, I'm actually doing a little bit of work right now, so that's kind of gotta take precedent. But hopefully you're getting a good view of what things are like out here. And once again, we've really lucked out with the weather. Jim's taking his wild rag off, so that's how you know it's warm. And for our urban viewers, a wild rag is a silk scarf that you put.
Yeah.
So what was the weight on that calf? Can you read it?
This guy is even bigger. 90.
90. And is this a heifer as well?
It is.
That is a big calf for a heifer. There we go. And once again, we have our trusty sidekick Bart in the back with us here. You guys can see him. So we have 6 viewers. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks to everybody who's shared so far. If you're looking to find us on a variety of social media, we're at Beef Advocacy, and obviously the Beef Advocacy Canada Facebook page. So Jim's just putting those tags in that we talked about before. For those of you that are just tuning in, the tags we're putting in now are the management tag. So that's the tag for the farm to know which calf belongs to which mother, and a DNA tag that takes a small sample from the calf's ear, and that information is then sent to the University of Alberta to Livestock Gen Tech, who will use that to analyze data on the herd sire, so on the cow's father, or on the calf's father, sorry. We're up to 8 viewers now, which is great. Thanks, Eat Cow, Drill Oil, and Rope Calves for sharing the video. And we have another question from Alberta Beef Producers. He said, can you tell us a little bit about what comes next for the calves? So what'll happen next in the production cycle?
So the next big stressor that comes for these calves will be branding. That happens, this particular calf won't get branded for probably 3 weeks, but our big brandings are going to be next weekend on the 3rd. We'll be branding about 500 calves that day, and then the 10th we'll have another fairly big branding, another 200 or so calves, and then we'll just have our cleanup brandings after that. Once the cattle are branded, then we'll start moving them out to our summer pasture rotations and sorting pairs and getting them ready to go out to the pastures.
Great. So really quick before we head off again, maybe you can tell us a little bit about branding and why it's important to brand, and maybe, obviously branding is a painful procedure but a necessary one, so maybe some of the things that you do to make that a little easier on your calves.
Sure. Branding is necessary for one reason alone, and it's for cattle ownership. Cattle thievery is not over yet. We have a number of cases that are pending where we've lost cattle, and they've been branded cattle, but it's far easier to dispose of an unbranded animal than a branded animal. If you try to sell a branded animal, you have to do some explaining if you don't own the brand or have a paper trail that tells you you're the owner. So that's the reason we brand the cattle. We run a lot of our cattle on public land in the mountains. If you've noticed in some of the pictures, those mountains are kind of our eastern boundary of our forestry reserve. And up there we have had fairly significant cattle theft issues, and we're trying to mitigate those as much as we can. Branding is one tool that we use against that. Ear tags are really easy to cut out, so people can cut them out of their ears very easily and quickly, so that's not a good proof of ownership. And it's a little bit simpler and less time consuming than tattooing, I guess, and it's also, tattooing is very non-visual. You can't look at an animal and say, oh, that belongs to so-and-so because of the tattoo. You have to actually restrain it and examine inside the ear and see the tattoo. So that's the reason we brand. The other things we do during branding, we'll castrate the non-bull calves. That is calves that don't get to stay bulls. We will vaccinate all the calves with kind of a smorgasbord of vaccines to cover a lot of the calf-head diseases that we need to deal with here. And we'll also dehorn any calves that have horns. And all of this stuff is very stressful. It is fairly painful. And so the other thing that we've just recently started doing is giving them a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory called meloxicam. And we're giving that orally at branding. It's an anti-inflammatory painkiller that lasts sort of 3 to 4 days in the animal and helps them get over the stress and the pain of the branding and get them back doing normal calf things, which is running around and playing in the field and nursing with their mother and grazing.
Great. All right, well, we won't hold you up anymore. We'll find our next calf.
justify branding. And what do you think Joe Public would do if they saw what goes on in branding? And I said, I explained what I just explained, but I also talked about the public that we have come to our branding. And our branding, as you know, you've seen it, is quite an event. That a lot of people from the city are quite happy to come to and enjoy. It's not that enjoyable to inflict pain on these animals, but it's hard work, and it's work that's necessary in our current environment. And there are a lot of things that we're doing to try and mitigate the stresses and the pain that we're doing. And one of the big things that we do is try and get the calf back out with mum as soon as possible. Better catch it quick. Grab a tail. Good job. You can let go. Oh, this one's a big one. It's okay.
So that was a little bit of a livelier calf and up and running around, so we just had to grab a hold of a tail there and get it caught so we could put it in our scale. And we'll be interested to see what the weight is on this one because he was a big boy.
125?
125. That's a big calf. And let's see. Oh, and mom's a heifer too?
No, she's not.
No, she's a Y. Sorry, guys. Never mind. So that's a little bit more typical, is it then? Because she's older? Or is that still a big calf?
No, that's still on the high side.
Okay. What would your average be for your...
Our average birth weight is probably around 97 pounds.
Okay. So there you go, guys. 97 pounds is the average birth weight here. Yes, on that is on cows. So two plus years. We've got 13 people watching right now, so that's pretty great. Thanks, guys. That was another bull calf as well. Hi Casey, thanks for joining us. Got 14 viewers now, so that's great. And thanks to everyone that shared the video. We're just gonna get rolling. We don't want to hold Jim up too much here, so but if you have questions, feel free to send them. So the reason Jim was doing a very good calf impression there was just to alert the mom that the calf is still here, and sort of mimic that sound so that she would follow it and come back to her calf. We don't want her to leave, so I'll try mine. So as you can see, when we do that, she starts to look back. Jim's calf call is better than mine. I believe, I didn't see the tag, but I think this is a heifer as well too. So that would explain, especially that first year, they need to learn a little bit about motherhood. It's sort of like having your first child, so just need to help them out a little bit. So we're putting our tags in. Okay. Yeah. Get out of our road.
Trying to haze this heifer back to her calf. She got a little scared with us fiddling around with it and walked away, so we're just going to make sure that she gets back with her calf. Gets back with her calf before we go away. So.
And you guys can't see, but that's exactly what's happening. But yeah, so that was, in case you didn't hear, we just had to haze that heifer a little bit and get her back towards her calf. Sometimes when you're handling calves, cows can get a little nervous and they might kind of forget where their calves are, and so they'll walk away, and so it's important to make sure that they mother back up, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Calf's having a drink. That is quite the picturesque little view. So we're heading back out. Try to do a little less.
calf that's easy to be born and lots of energy.
This here is a brand new calf that was not here this morning. Welcome to the world, little buddy.
Just I'm well defended just in case she wants to kill me.
Yeah.
So I would just be careful that way.
You're okay.
Don't make a shoe noise.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. That's a bad one for horses too. So again, sometimes their maternal instincts kick in and they get a little aggressive, which isn't great. This cow was fine though. She was just looking after her baby, and I made a very big mistake here. There, which I actually know better than to do. And it's interesting for you guys is if you make kind of a, I won't make it because it'll freak her out, but an SH noise, it spooks cattle a little bit. It's similar to some things that might bite them and hurt them. So, and we have a question from Kate. She says, can he tell us about how they wean and what works for them? So we might have to get going, but we'll answer that at some point.
Oh, we can answer that now.
Okay.
Our weaning is we usually do it around the 1st of November, and we use what's called a two-stage weaning. So it actually wasn't invented in Canada. I think the original equipment came from Argentina or Brazil or something like that. What it is we vaccinate the calves, and vaccinations are another stressful event that happens. Sometimes the vaccine makes the calves feel a little bit sick and certainly sore where the needle is. And so at that time we put in a nose flap. It pinches into their nose and then flops down in front of their mouth. So if they try to suck, the flap will be in the way and they won't be able to grab the teat or the nipple. And they're still able to be with their mom. Their mom still licks them and loves them. And they have the companionship of their mother, but they don't have the milk. And it's amazing how strong that milk bond is. And when we break that milk bond, those calves have the nose flap in for 4 to 7 days. And at that point we can separate the calves and cows, and the calves go on feed right away and the cows go out grazing rather than trying to tear the fences down on their way back to their calf. We've found on both the cow and the calf that it's far less stressful for them to wean this way. And that way, if they don't feel very well, their mother can make them feel better a little bit by licking and all the other motherly things they do. We break the milk bond, and then when separation happens, it's a very minimal event.
That's great. Very interesting. Thanks for joining us, Cody. We'll see you as we continue along.
Grab the tail.
Okay.
I can get your right arm out of the way.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, wrong mom. We'll get yours next.
Okay, so that's a bit of a...
There's a nice little calf for a heifer to have.
Yeah.
Meh. Meh. Can I get you to load that, please? Nice little heifer.
Yeah. How many more do we have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Okay, we'll keep going for a little bit. We don't have to film the whole thing.
Okay.
See how we're doing.
Okay. It's called when you touch a colt when it's really young. They call it imprinting. Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed what I'm doing with these calves.
Yeah, handling them.
But I'll scratch in their chest and along their throat. And what I'm trying to do is imprint them.
Right.
And I've noticed that they, I think this one's done.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is, this is their first contact with people. And I want it to be as good as it can be. And sometimes they'll scream, like this guy did when we tagged him. And so I'll be scratching their throat and their chest in order to kind of get that first imprint. I notice the cows when they're licking their calves, they often lick them on their belly and in their chest, and they'll the calves will calm down when that happens. And so I've done this a number of times, and a lot of times they will settle down while I'm standing there and just relax a little bit, and they seem to not be as scared of the whole situation.
That's really cool. And is that a management practice you learned or just kind of picked up on your own, or?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I may have learned it from somebody else, but I don't recall ever having been told that.
Right.
But it's my own observation that they'll relax quite a bit in those situations.
So I'll just recap a little bit, because I know the cow is calling for her calf a little bit. For those of you that couldn't hear, what Jim was saying he does is he had a little bit of a squirmer. Jim was saying that he imprints his calves, which is a tactic that's used quite often in training young horses. And what he does is, as he said, this is the first time that these calves have had contact with a person, and he wants to make that a comfortable experience for them. So what he does is he has noticed that cows lick their calves in their kind of on their chest and on their belly, and so he mimics that motion by rubbing their throats and rubbing their stomachs, and that A, calms the calf down, and B, gets them used to being handled by a person. So that's a really interesting tactic, and obviously one that's worked out really well for him. So thanks for sharing that. Hi Stacy, thanks for joining us. We're gonna go find our next calf. Have to weigh this one. You're all right. You're all right.
No, don't do that. That's not nice.
Hey.
Hey. Funny.
Yeah.
She doesn't really mean it.
Yeah. She's laughing. Famous last words.
Okay.
Good?
Oh, I got her.
I was moving cattle on horseback, moving cow-calf pairs with a friend of mine the other day, and that's what I thought too, and she wasn't bluffing.
So 4 left.
Okay.
We know of.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a couple new ones. I was ready to jump back in here if I had to.
She looked like she wanted to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Does that one have a DNA tag in it?
No.
Okay. Okay,
You
got
want
it.
to know the CCA number?
Yeah.
Got 124000210084914.
4914.
Make that a little more comfortable. Yeah. All right. Well, we're dropping off a little bit. We've got 10 viewers, so thanks to everybody that's joined. We